Life is a relentless cycle of highs and lows, of progress and setbacks. Among us walk women who have faced profound challenges, yet emerge stronger after every fall. They are not merely survivors, but exemplars of resilience and self-transformation. Their stories teach us about the human capacity to rise, to rebuild, and to find meaning in adversity. Today, I will take you on a journey that illuminates the path of a woman who rises after every fall. The moment of disruption. Every fall in life begins with a moment of disruption, a sudden, often unexpected event that shakes the very foundation of our existence. For a woman, this disruption can manifest in countless ways. It might come as the loss of a loved one, leaving a void so vast it feels impossible to fill. It could arrive through betrayal, perhaps by someone she trusted wholeheartedly, shattering her sense of security and trust. Sometimes it is failure, an unmet goal, a collapsed dream, or a project that didn't turn out as planned. And then there are those quiet yet overwhelming disruptions, like the crushing weight of unfulfilled ambitions or the realization that life isn't unfolding as she had once envisioned. In these moments, life feels like it has been turned upside down. The rhythm she once moved to is abruptly halted, and she's left grappling with questions that pierce deep into her soul. Who am I now? What does this mean for my future? How do I even begin to rebuild? These disruptions don't just hurt, they destabilize. They force her to step into a realm of uncertainty, far removed from the comfort and familiarity of her previous life. Imagine standing at the edge of a cliff, the ground crumbling beneath your feet, and suddenly finding yourself in free fall. That is what a disruption feels like. Losing the sense of solid ground, unsure of when or where you will land. It is terrifying, and often it feels isolating. In those moments, the world can seem colder, quieter, and less forgiving. It is as though time slows down, and the weight of the disruption consumes her thoughts, making it hard to see beyond the immediate pain. Yet within the chaos of a disruption lies a profound truth. It is also the beginning of something new. While it may not feel like it in the moment, every fall plants the seed of transformation. Painful as it may be, these moments create an opportunity for growth and change. Disruption forces us to pause, reflect, and re-evaluate. It strips away the non-essential, revealing what truly matters. For a woman in the throes of a life-altering disruption, this can be the first step in discovering her strength. It's important to acknowledge that the process is not linear. At first, the disruption may only bring feelings of despair, confusion, or anger, and that's okay. These emotions are natural responses to a world turned upside down, but slowly, with time, she begins to see slivers of light through the cracks. She realizes that while life as she knew it may have collapsed, it doesn't mean she has to remain buried under the rubble. Disruptions, though brutal, offer a chance to rebuild, a chance to create something stronger, something more aligned with her true self. These moments teach resilience. They remind her that even when she feels broken, she has the capacity to heal. Disruption may start as an ending, but in its essence, it is also a beginning, a gateway to transformation and a new chapter in her life. The depths of despair. The aftermath of a fall is often one of the most challenging and overwhelming periods in life. It is a time when the world, as it once was, feels completely out of reach. For a woman navigating this phase, it can seem as if the ground beneath her feet has vanished, leaving her suspended in a state of uncertainty and disorientation. This is the space we call the depths of despair, a place where emotions feel heavier than ever before and clarity seems impossibly far away. In these moments, grief often takes center stage. Grief is not limited to losing a loved one. It can stem from the loss of a dream, a sense of identity, or a future that once felt certain. It feels as though a piece of her has been ripped away, leaving a void that nothing can immediately fill. The weight of this loss presses down, and every attempt to stand tall feels like an insurmountable effort. Sometimes it's hard to even muster the strength to get out of bed, let alone face the world. Alongside grief comes self-doubt. The fall might trigger questions that spiral into a deep sense of inadequacy. Why did this happen to me? Did I make a mistake? Could I have done something differently? These questions often morph into harsh judgments, convincing her that she wasn't enough, that she failed herself or others in some profound way. This inner dialogue can feel relentless, feeding into the cycle of despair and making it seem as if the darkness will never lift. There is also the overwhelming vulnerability that accompanies this phase. It is a raw, unfiltered exposure of emotions, where even small things can feel like massive weights. Vulnerability might show itself in tears that come unexpectedly or in the reluctance to face others out of fear of judgment or pity. It is as though she is carrying an open wound, sensitive to the slightest touch. Yet even in this rawness, there is an important truth to remember. Vulnerability is not weakness. In fact, it is one of the most human experiences, a reminder that she is alive, feeling, and capable of transformation. The depths of despair are not just an emotional storm. They are also a necessary step in the process of healing. It may not feel that way at the time, but allowing herself to feel this grief, self-doubt, and vulnerability is part of the journey. Suppressing these emotions would only delay the process of recovery. By confronting them, by sitting with the pain and acknowledging its presence, she begins the slow but vital work of healing. This phase, though painful, is also transformative. It strips away pretenses and reveals what truly matters. It forces her to pause, to reflect, and to begin the process of rebuilding herself from the inside out. In these depths, she may discover a quiet strength, a resilience she didn't know she had. The path forward begins here, not in denying the despair, but in embracing it as part of her story, a chapter that will eventually lead to light. The power of reflection. In the middle of chaos and confusion, when life feels shattered, there comes a moment when the noise begins to quiet. It might not happen all at once. Sometimes it's subtle, a flicker of thought amidst the whirlwind of emotions. This is the beginning of reflection, a deeply personal and transformative phase where a woman starts to piece together the fragments of her experience and ask herself the questions that truly matter. Reflection often feels like shining a flashlight into a dark, uncharted room. At first, it can be unsettling to face the wreckage. She might feel hesitant, unsure if she's ready to revisit the pain of her fall. But over time, reflection becomes less about reliving the hurt and more about understanding it. She begins to ask questions that help her make sense of the situation. What really went wrong? What role did I play in this? Was this entirely in my control, or were there forces beyond me? These questions, while difficult, serve as the foundation for self-awareness and growth. Through this process, she might uncover truths she had overlooked. Perhaps she realizes that the fall wasn't entirely about her, that circumstances, timing, or the actions of others played a role. Or she might recognize patterns in her choices that she can work on changing. Reflection is not about assigning blame, whether to herself or others. It's about seeking clarity and learning. It's a way of sifting through the chaos to find the threads of insight that will guide her forward. One of the most powerful aspects of reflection is how it transforms pain into purpose. A fall, no matter how devastating, holds within it lessons that can shape the future. For example, if she lost a job, reflection might reveal that she wasn't truly aligned with the role, or that it pushed her to discover a passion she had long ignored. If she faced heartbreak, it might teach her about the boundaries she needs to set, or the qualities she values most in a partner. These lessons don't erase the pain, but they give it meaning. They allow her to see the fall not just as a setback, but as a stepping stone. Reflection also fosters gratitude, even in the most unexpected ways. As she delves deeper into her thoughts, she might recognize the people who supported her, the resilience she demonstrated, or the small wins she achieved despite the odds. This gratitude doesn't diminish the struggle, but adds a layer of hope and strength to her perspective. In this process, time becomes her ally. Reflection doesn't demand immediate answers. It unfolds gradually, giving her the space to explore her thoughts and emotions without pressure. Over days, weeks, or even months, she begins to see the bigger picture, to understand how the fall fits into the larger narrative of her life. Ultimately, reflection is a bridge between the past and the future. It transforms the chaos of the fall into a coherent story, one that empowers her rather than defines her by her struggles. In the stillness of reflection, she finds the seeds of growth, ready to take root and flourish. Seeking support. No journey of resilience is taken alone. A woman who rises after every fall knows the importance of seeking support, be it from family, friends, mentors, or even professional help. These connections provide strength and perspective, reminding her that she is not alone in her struggle. In life's most challenging moments, the instinct might be to retreat inward, to bear the weight of pain in solitude. Yet no journey of resilience is ever truly taken alone. For a woman navigating the aftermath of a fall, seeking support can become her greatest source of strength. It's not an admission of weakness, but a profound act of courage, an acknowledgement that healing and growth flourish in connection with others. Support can come in many forms, each uniquely powerful. Family often provides a foundation, offering a sense of safety and unconditional love. Whether it's a comforting conversation with a parent, a sibling's reassuring presence, or the quiet understanding of a partner, family has a way of grounding her during turbulent times. They remind her of where she comes from, anchoring her in love and familiarity. Friends, too, play an essential role. They become her sounding board, a space where she can speak openly about her fears, frustrations, and hopes without judgment. A friend's words of encouragement, a shared laugh amidst the tears, or even the simple act of sitting together in silence can be a powerful balm. These relationships remind her that she is seen, heard, and valued for who she is, not just for the version of herself that appears strong on the surface. Sometimes the support she needs goes beyond her immediate circle. Mentors or trusted advisors can provide guidance during times of uncertainty, offering wisdom that comes from experience. They help her see the bigger picture, pointing out opportunities for growth that might be hidden in the shadow of her pain. Their perspective, often shaped by their own journeys, can instill hope and a renewed sense of purpose. In certain situations, professional help becomes an invaluable lifeline. Therapists, counselors, or support groups provide a safe, structured environment where she can explore her emotions and confront the challenges she faces. These spaces are free of stigma and judgment, allowing her to navigate the complexities of her thoughts and feelings with clarity and compassion. Seeking professional help is not a sign of defeat. It's a proactive step toward rebuilding her life with the tools and support she deserves. What makes seeking support so transformative is the reminder that she is not alone. The act of reaching out, whether through a phone call, a heartfelt conversation, or simply allowing someone to be present with her, breaks the isolation that pain often creates. It reinforces the truth that her struggles, while deeply personal, are not unique. Others have walked similar paths, and their shared strength can help carry her through. Importantly, seeking support is a two-way street. As she allows others to be there for her, she also deepens the bonds of connection and trust. The people who support her feel honored to be part of her journey, And this mutual exchange of vulnerability and care creates relationships that are even stronger and more meaningful than before. In seeking support, a woman learns that strength is not about doing everything alone. It's about recognizing the power of community, the importance of leaning on those who care, and the value of allowing herself to be uplifted by the love and wisdom of others. Through these connections, she discovers that resilience is not just a personal journey, it's a shared one, built on the foundation of relationships that inspire her to rise. Embracing vulnerability. Vulnerability is often misunderstood. Many of us grow up believing that to show our wounds, our struggles, or our fears is to expose a weakness. We learn to hide behind masks of composure, convinced that admitting pain or uncertainty makes us appear fragile or incapable. Yet, for a woman rising from the depths of a fall, embracing vulnerability is not a sign of weakness. It is a profound act of courage and strength. To be vulnerable is to stand in the rawness of our humanity, unguarded and honest. It means allowing the world to see the parts of us that are not perfect, the moments when we are hurt, scared, or unsure. This openness can feel terrifying, especially in a society that often rewards stoicism and strength. But vulnerability is the gateway to healing. When a woman dares to acknowledge her pain instead of burying it, she gives herself permission to feel, to process, and ultimately, to move forward. Imagine carrying a heavy burden, one that grows heavier with every passing day. Pretending it isn't there might provide temporary relief, but the weight doesn't go away. In fact, it only compounds. Embracing vulnerability is like setting that burden down, even if just for a moment, and saying, "This is what I'm carrying." It doesn't make the struggle disappear, but it makes room for others to help, for understanding to grow, and for her to find a path forward that feels lighter and more manageable. Vulnerability also fosters authentic connection. When a woman shares her struggles, she invites others to meet her in a space of honesty and empathy. It's in these moments that relationships deepen. Friends and loved ones are not drawn to her because she appears flawless, but because she trusts them enough to let her guard down. This trust becomes the foundation for deeper bonds, built on mutual respect and understanding. In being vulnerable, she often discovers that she is not alone in her experiences. Others have faced similar challenges, and their stories of resilience can inspire her own. Perhaps the most transformative aspect of vulnerability is what it teaches about strength. Scars, both physical and emotional, are often seen as reminders of pain, but when embraced, they become symbols of resilience. They tell a story of survival, of lessons learned, and of a journey toward growth. By owning her scars, a woman reclaims her narrative. She no longer defines herself by the fall, but by the rise that followed. Vulnerability becomes a tool for empowerment, a way to say, "This is me," fully and unapologetically. There is a quiet, profound power in being vulnerable. It's the power to show up authentically, to face life's challenges with an open heart, and to transform pain into wisdom. When a woman embraces vulnerability, she steps into her strength, discovering that it is not her wounds that weaken her, but her willingness to hide them. By showing her true self, she not only heals, but inspires others to do the same. Redefining identity. A fall often shatters old identities, forcing a woman to redefine who she is. This is not an easy process, but it is transformative. She begins to see herself not as a victim, but as a survivor, a learner, and a fighter. When life delivers a fall, a moment of profound loss, failure, or betrayal, it often leaves more than just a temporary wound. It shakes the very foundation of who a woman believes she is. The roles she once identified with, whether as a professional, a partner, a caregiver, or a dreamer, can feel stripped away, leaving her with an unsettling question. Who am I now? Redefining her identity in the aftermath is not an easy process, but it is one of the most transformative journeys she can undertake. At first, this stage might feel like standing in the middle of a wreckage. The pieces of her former life, her dreams, relationships, or accomplishments, may lie scattered, no longer fitting together as they once did. It's natural to feel disoriented, even angry, at the loss of what was familiar. Yet, within this destruction lies the opportunity to rebuild, to reimagine herself in ways she never thought possible. The process of redefining identity begins with letting go of labels and expectations that no longer serve her. Perhaps she once defined herself by her career, her achievements, or her relationships. Losing these anchors can feel devastating, but it also forces her to dig deeper beyond external markers of success. She begins to ask herself, what truly matters to me? What do I value, not because others expect it, but because it resonates with my soul? These questions lead her to a more authentic understanding of herself, unfiltered by societal pressures or past roles. One of the most profound shifts that occurs during this process is how she starts to see herself. In the early stages, it's easy to feel like a victim, powerless and defined by the circumstances of the fall. But as she reflects and grows, this perspective begins to change. She starts to recognize her strength in enduring the storm. She sees the lessons embedded in the pain and understands that each setback has contributed to her resilience. She reclaims her narrative, shifting from, "Why did this happen to me?" to "Look at what I have overcome." This redefinition often brings new clarity about what she wants from life. She might discover passions or callings that were buried under the weight of her old identity. Perhaps she finds fulfillment in creativity, advocacy, or simply in the freedom to explore new paths. These discoveries are not always grand or dramatic. They might be as simple as embracing her individuality or taking pride in small daily victories. Importantly, this journey of redefining identity is not about becoming someone entirely new, but about uncovering the parts of herself that were always there, waiting to emerge. It's about integrating her experiences, the highs and the lows, into a fuller, more authentic sense of self. Her scars do not diminish her. They enhance her, telling a story of growth, strength, and transformation. As she redefines her identity, she no longer feels confined by the expectations of who she should be. She learns to embrace who she is, a survivor, a learner, and a fighter. In this transformation, she finds a power that is uniquely hers, a power born not from avoiding the fall, but from rising stronger because of it. Cultivating resilience. Resilience is often viewed as a mysterious quality, something certain people are simply born with. But the truth is far more empowering. Resilience is not an innate trait, it is a skill, one that is cultivated over time through effort, reflection, and perseverance. For a woman rebuilding her life after a fall, resilience is not about pretending the fall didn't happen or avoiding future struggles. It's about rising again and again, stronger and wiser with each step forward. The journey to resilience begins with small, deliberate actions. After a fall, life can feel overwhelming, with the weight of emotions and uncertainty pressing down. It's tempting to look for quick solutions, but resilience isn't built in a day. Instead, it grows through consistent, purposeful steps. One of these steps might be setting small, achievable goals. These goals don't have to be monumental. They can be as simple as getting out of bed, preparing a meal, or going for a walk. Each small victory reinforces the belief that progress is possible, no matter how slow or difficult it might seem. Routines also play a crucial role in cultivating resilience. After a disruption, life often feels chaotic, with no clear sense of direction. Establishing routines, whether it's a morning ritual, an exercise practice, or a time set aside for reflection, provides a sense of stability. Routines act as anchors, grounding her in the present and offering a structure to rebuild her days. Over time, these routines become a source of strength, reminding her that she has control over certain aspects of her life, even when other parts feel uncertain. Self-care is another foundational element of resilience. Often misunderstood as indulgence, self-care is, in fact, an essential practice of nurturing one's physical, emotional, and mental well-being. It might mean prioritizing sleep, eating nourishing foods, or taking breaks when needed. But it also includes listening to her inner voice, being kind to herself, and allowing space for rest and healing. Self-care teaches her that resilience doesn't require her to push through exhaustion or suppress her emotions. It requires her to honor her needs and boundaries. As she takes these small, deliberate steps, something remarkable begins to happen. She starts to trust herself again. Each effort, no matter how small, reinforces her inner strength. She learns to navigate setbacks with greater patience and grace, understanding that progress is not linear. And most importantly, she comes to see resilience not as a state of being, but as a practice, something she builds and nurtures every day. Resilience also changes how she views the falls themselves. Rather than fearing failure or pain, she begins to see these moments as opportunities for growth. She learns that her worth is not defined by her mistakes or hardships, but by her ability to rise from them. In this way, resilience becomes a mindset, a belief in her capacity to adapt, to heal, and to thrive no matter what challenges arise. Ultimately, cultivating resilience is about embracing the journey, with all its imperfections and uncertainties. It's about showing up for herself, even when the path is unclear, and believing in her ability to keep moving forward. With each step, she proves to herself that resilience is not about avoiding the fall, it's about rising, time and time again, with courage and determination. And through this process, she not only rebuilds her strength, but redefines what it means to be unbreakable. Turning pain into purpose. Pain is one of life's most universal experiences. It touches everyone in different ways, leaving behind scars that tell stories of struggle, loss, and endurance. But what if those scars could tell a story of hope instead? One of the most extraordinary parts of a woman's journey of rising after a fall is her ability to transform pain into purpose. It's not about forgetting what happened or erasing the hurt, but about finding a way to use those experiences to create something meaningful, both for herself and for others. When a woman has faced deep pain, she gains a perspective that can't be learned any other way. The lessons embedded in her struggles are hard-won, and they come with a clarity that allows her to see life differently. In the early stages, it might feel impossible to imagine anything good coming from the suffering she's endured. But over time, as she begins to heal, she often discovers that her pain has given her a unique gift: empathy. She understands what it's like to feel lost, broken, or afraid, and this understanding becomes a bridge to connect with others who are going through similar struggles. One of the most powerful ways a woman turns pain into purpose is by helping others. Whether it's through volunteering, mentoring, or simply being a source of support for someone in need, her experiences equip her to make a real difference. She might choose to share her story, not for attention or sympathy, but to offer a hand to those who feel they're drowning. Her scars become a roadmap, showing others that it's possible to survive, to heal, and to thrive after life's hardest moments. For some women, pain becomes the catalyst for discovering new passions. A difficult breakup might inspire her to focus on self-love and wellness, leading her to pursue activities that bring her joy and fulfillment. The loss of a loved one might motivate her to create something lasting in their memory, whether it's an organization, a piece of art, or a commitment to living life more fully. In these moments, her pain transforms into a drive to create something beautiful, something that adds value to the world and gives her life a renewed sense of meaning. Advocacy is another way women channel their pain into purpose. A personal struggle with discrimination might inspire her to fight for equality. A health challenge could lead her to raise awareness for others dealing with the same condition. These actions not only create change, but also give her a sense of agency. She's no longer defined by what happened to her, but by what she's chosen to do with it. Her journey becomes a beacon, lighting the way for others and proving that pain can lead to progress. What makes this transformation so powerful is that it doesn't erase the scars. Instead, it honors them. The scars become symbols of resilience, reminders of the strength it took to rise and the compassion that came from the experience. By turning pain into purpose, a woman reclaims her narrative, transforming moments of suffering into chapters of meaning and impact. In doing so, she not only heals herself but also inspires others, proving that even in the darkest times, there is a path toward light, hope, and purpose. Celebrating growth. In the aftermath of a fall, it's easy to fixate on the pain, the mistakes, or the losses. The climb back up, the slow, arduous journey of recovery, can sometimes feel like an afterthought, overshadowed by the gravity of what went wrong. But for a woman who rises after adversity, the act of celebrating growth is not just important, it is transformative. It shifts the focus from what was lost to what has been gained and reminds her of the strength, resilience, and determination that brought her to where she is. Growth doesn't happen all at once. It's a process marked by small victories, incremental changes, and quiet moments of courage. For a woman, in the midst of rebuilding her life, progress might look like waking up with a little more hope than the day before or finding the strength to try something new. It might mean speaking up for herself, setting boundaries, or daring to dream again. Each of these moments is worth celebrating, not because they signify the end of her journey, but because they represent steps along the way. Acknowledging growth is about shifting the narrative. Too often, we measure ourselves by what we haven't yet achieved or the distance we still have to cover. But a woman who learns to celebrate her progress reframes the story. Instead of focusing on how far she has to go, she recognizes how far she's already come. This recognition is empowering. It helps her see herself not as someone who is struggling to recover, but as someone who is actively growing, learning, and becoming stronger every day. Celebrating growth also strengthens her resolve. Each milestone, no matter how small, is a reminder of her capability. It reinforces the idea that she's not defined by the fall, but by her ability to rise. Whether it's getting through a difficult conversation, finding joy in a moment of laughter, or simply showing up for herself when it's hard, these achievements deserve recognition. They are proof of her resilience and a testament to her inner strength. Ultimately, reflection is a bridge between the past and the future. It transforms the chaos of the fall into a coherent story, one that empowers her rather than defines her by her struggles. In the stillness of reflection, she finds the seeds of growth, ready to take root and flourish. Seeking support. No journey of resilience is taken alone. A woman who rises after every fall knows the importance of seeking support, be it from family, friends, mentors, or even professional help. These connections provide strength and perspective, reminding her that she is not alone in her struggle. In life's most challenging moments, the instinct might be to retreat inward, to bear the weight of pain in solitude. Yet no journey of resilience is ever truly taken alone. For a woman navigating the aftermath of a fall, seeking support can become her greatest source of strength. It's not an admission of weakness, but a profound act of courage, an acknowledgement that healing and growth flourish in connection with others. Support can come in many forms, each uniquely powerful. Family often provides a foundation, offering a sense of safety and unconditional love. Whether it's a comforting conversation with a parent, a sibling's reassuring presence, or the quiet understanding of a partner, family has a way of grounding her during turbulent times. They remind her of where she comes from, anchoring her in love and familiarity. Friends, too, play an essential role. They become her sounding board, a space where she can speak openly about her fears, frustrations, and hopes without judgment. A friend's words of encouragement, a shared laugh amidst the tears, or even the simple act of sitting together in silence can be a powerful balm. These relationships remind her that she is seen, heard, and valued for who she is, not just for the version of herself that appears strong on the surface. Sometimes the support she needs goes beyond her immediate circle. Mentors or trusted advisors can provide guidance during times of uncertainty, offering wisdom that comes from experience. They help her see the bigger picture, pointing out opportunities for growth that might be hidden in the shadow of her pain. Their perspective, often shaped by their own journeys, can instill hope and a renewed sense of purpose. In certain situations, professional help becomes an invaluable lifeline. Therapists, counselors, or support groups provide a safe, structured environment where she can explore her emotions and confront the challenges she faces. These spaces are free of stigma and judgment, allowing her to navigate the complexities of her thoughts and feelings with clarity and compassion. Seeking professional help is not a sign of defeat. It's a proactive step toward rebuilding her life with the tools and support she deserves. What makes seeking support so transformative is the reminder that she is not alone. The act of reaching out, whether through a phone call, a heartfelt conversation, or simply allowing someone to be present with her, breaks the isolation that pain often creates. It reinforces the truth that her struggles, while deeply personal, are not unique. Others have walked similar paths, and their shared strength can help carry her through. Importantly, seeking support is a two-way street. As she allows others to be there for her, she also deepens the bonds of connection and trust. The people who support her feel honored to be part of her journey, and this mutual exchange of vulnerability and care creates relationships that are even stronger and more meaningful than before. In seeking support, a woman learns that strength is not about doing everything alone. It's about recognizing the power of community, the importance of leaning on those who care, and the value of allowing herself to be uplifted by the love and wisdom of others. Through these connections, she discovers that resilience is not just a personal journey, it's a shared one, built on the foundation of relationships that inspire her to rise. Embracing vulnerability. Vulnerability is often misunderstood. Many of us grow up believing that to show our wounds, our struggles, or our fears is to expose a weakness. We learn to hide behind masks of composure, convinced that admitting pain or uncertainty makes us appear fragile or incapable. Yet, for a woman rising from the depths of a fall, embracing vulnerability is not a sign of weakness. It is a profound act of courage and strength. To be vulnerable is to stand in the rawness of our humanity, unguarded and honest. It means allowing the world to see the parts of us that are not perfect, the moments when we are hurt, scared, or unsure. This openness can feel terrifying, especially in a society that often rewards stoicism and strength.